Welcome to a video. Stand by. Real fast. Okay. I'm trying to get the optimal way to get the drum still picked up if I play, and then my voice. That's going to have to do. Okay. Although I'm naming this video the Whole Lotta Love click track or something like that, I don't mean it to be misleading. Here's my point. Whole Lotta Love, the recording, mixed by, I think, Eddie Kramer and Jimmy Page. Remember, they were twiddling every knob known to man. But it was recorded when they were here in the States. In fact, I think it was recorded at, was it A&R Studios or A&M Studios or Mirror in Los Angeles somewhere. Or bits and pieces of it. I'm sure they probably went back to Olympic and probably put some more stuff on it, you know, like the middle and everything. But my point is this. I think, do you know how in Whole Lotta Love, we go into the part, you know, the middle, the psychedelic swirly part? What I propose is, and it must be this way, and I'll tell you why. I think we Zeppelinophiles and John Bonhamophiles know that, if you're not familiar with this, just look it up on the internet or YouTube. You'll find videos and stuff that show this. When they did Moby Dick, right? Remember, when you go into a studio, there's a budget, there's time, you want to get stuff done. Especially if you're Led Zeppelin on tour in 1969, right? And you're like, well, we're playing these gigs, let's go in and just record some stuff. Plus, it's just smart to do anyway. You want to be efficient. Moby Dick, right? They went in there. What they did was they recorded the they did the first part, right? One, two, da 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 da. So they did the intro bookend and the outro bookend, and then they did the drum insert take one. Right? So what they did was they recorded the intro and then the outro as separate nuggets, and then Bonham just went in and they recorded him just soloing, just playing the drums probably for, well, the 15 minutes they probably got on the reel of tape, right? Of course, we don't know how many inches per second they ran that baby, so it could have been more or less. But anyhow, my point is, with Whole Lotta Love, I'm certain what they did was they played the first section and then the outro section, whether or not they did it exactly like they did Moby Dick, where they played a da-da-da-da-ba. Bam, bam, right? They might have done it just like that and then put that chunk in, which is, well, that's what I'm saying. That's what they did. So my point is this. When I say like the click track or the loop, do you know in Whole Lotta Love, you have the, well, it's slower. And it's such a beautiful sound on that recording, because the coolest thing is there's a little bit, you know, there's some reverb on it. I'm sure it's compressed and a little bit of delay and a Fairchild limiter. I'm sure piping hot like, but is when it's this. When it comes up. Anyway, it sounds so great, as we all know, in Zeppelinburg. But what I think happened is, I mean, it's entirely possible Bonham was like, of course, about 15 beats per minute slower than that. It's possible it was all linear recorded through, right? But I don't think it was. And in fact, this is my argument again for we need the Led Zeppelin. Remember I always talk about the Beatles recording sessions book, where somebody went through at EMI and documented almost like a journal, like what they recorded this day, and they did this part, and they did 73 takes of this, and they took take 16 and take 23, and they spliced into this to make the master track, and then they did a reduction where they did this, and then on this day, the next day, they added the tambourine, and the next day, this day, John Lennon, added a new like that. We want that from Jimmy Page. I demand it. We all do indeed. Whether you know it or not, you do. So, what I think is possible now, moving on to the next segment, or part of this diatribe, is I think probably what happened was, okay, so let's say again, like my not allegation, what is it? My argument, my put forth, the thing I'm putting forth, my allegation, argument, I'll think of the synonym in a minute. It's 3 separate sections, right? The intro, a whole lot of love. Into this, here's segment 2, ting ting, woo woo woo. That chunk is 2, and then 3, right? 3 separate nuggets, okay, like Moby Dick, as a comparison. The intro, the solo itself, and then the outro. So, what I'm putting forth, my allegation, what is the word? My would somebody right now type it below? I'll find it. By the end of this video, I'll remember. But what I think they also might have done, they conceivably then like, all right, well, instead of like, drums insert take 1, it was like, all right, well, freaky part, whole lot of love, take 1. All right, ready? Ready, Ponzo? You got it. Well, I gotta get the tempo right. I said 11 cups of coffee, which does wonder for my familial tremor. Anyway, so again, they could have just run through the second chunk, like the middle of Whole Lot of Love, just like, I think it's what do they say? What's it, like 80 beats per minute, maybe? 85. I know it's more than 60, obviously. Anyway, so remember, it gives it the effect of almost like this. But he's not tapping it. That's just the sound of that old, in that Ludwig hi-hat stand. When that cymbal goes up and stops, you get like that tee. Oh, God, it sounds so fat. But anyway, back to the argument at hand. My supposition, my allegation, the argument I'm putting forth. What is the term? But again, they could have, like I said, they could have played it all the way through, which is possible. Intro, middle, end, which I'm saying didn't happen. And again, as I want Jimmy Page to clarify this, and this is one of the many nuggets of interesting information, not even audio files, even just straight out producers and engineers and just historians would love to have. So I'm putting forth, okay, so then the middle swirly section, right, the psychedelic section, Bonham could have sat there for 5 minutes. All right, ready, like I just said, like I started to say. And obviously they overdubbed, the congas and the bongos and all kinds of stuff. But, Bonham might have just been doing, how there's this stuff like. He could have done that for 5 minutes. But what I'm supposing, putting forth, my allegation, is this. What they probably did was, or it's very, I'm not saying probably, I won't say probably, because, they're all great musicians. Bonham was a great musician, a great timekeeper. But probably what they did is there's a loop of this. Again, slower than that they probably looped. Now, that's what I think happened here, okay? Like in Money by Pink Floyd. You ever seen, there's a documentary where they talk about what they did is they made a loop. At the beginning of Money by Pink Floyd, it's like, it's in 7. Okay, it's like 7. It's like a loop that's in 7. Yeah, 7, okay? Well, they did that manually, literally. They put together this freaking tape. Alan Parsons, they were working, it's a long story, but watch the documentary on it. Dark Side of the Moon, Money, you'll see them, they sit there, there's a tape machine that they made a loop, they made this loop, I don't know, it was probably 15 feet long or whatever, they measured it, a certain amount of time per foot or whatever length, so then it came out, then they ran it through a machine, and if I'm not mistaken, they used a mic stand, like the one that's holding this, and they looped the tape right around it. So they probably said, all right, well, let's get the loop going, so it's running, right? And they said, all right, we'll run the other tape machine, let's get, I don't know, how long's the song gonna be? Well, it'll be at least 5 minutes. Well, let's just, for the sake of it, get 10 minutes of this loop. So they had 10 minutes of that. So what they did was then use that as like a click track, in a sense, to play along to, because it was in 7, right? Now as the song goes on, the drums and the music come in, they fade that out in Money, Pink Floyd, okay? What I'm saying is, it's the same thing, I think, very likely could have happened here too. Not that they necessarily even had to loop, they might have just looped, maybe a bar to a bottom, just going, okay, and then made whatever. They're like, well, the middle, Jimmy Page might have been like, well, the middle would probably be at least 5 minutes, so they might have striped 10 minutes of that. So you might just hear 10 minutes, there might be a tape somewhere where you just hear 10 minutes of this. Okay? Then, Bottom did the cymbal taps along to the little, those types of things, right? Like there's that photograph, a couple photographs taken, I think it's at Olympic at this point, maybe not, maybe it's on the road, 69, where you see Robert Plant, I think, is a tambourine, and both John Paul Jones and John Bonham I think, is playing congas, and I think John Paul Jones is playing little bongos, okay, that little part you hear in the middle. So what I think is what they did was, the point of this, is that I think there was a long stretch of hi-hat, like, that they used as a click track, as like a structure to play along to, that made this big long hunk of music. That then in the mixing stage, they went in and inserted in to make the song. But it goes further. My further allegation or supposition, and I'll say right off the bat, this might be, I might have tested this theory before, because there's a thing called In Search of the Click Track, where you can type in a song. I don't know if you can do it anymore. I found the site or the page, but I wasn't able to find the point where you can type in a song, like punch in the name of a song, where they can run this algorithm, this net result, this graphing of whether the song is played to a click track or not. Okay, and I seem to remember putting in Whole Lotta Love, and because of the nature of it, I can't remember if the mapping indicated it was to a click track or not. But my point is this. I'm just going to say this anyway, because of course I could be wrong, as always. But nonetheless, this is how I think about it. If I'm wrong here, right? Let's say Jimmy Page somehow stumbles upon this video. It's like, this prick, who does he think he is? I'll tell you, everybody, this is what it actually is. He's wrong. Well, in my mind, I'll pay the price of being wrong as long as we actually then get the info, right? Like so I'll look like a jackass, but at least then we'll have the info, right? So if I'm proved wrong, but I know that's not the case, at least we know then what would happen. So, but what's possible too, what I'm getting at, which I might have disproven myself earlier if I checked on the search of the click track at the time when you could type it, I could find it. It is possible that they also might have, like they might have started with this. Okay? So it's possible then they might have done the middle first and then recorded the so like Jimmy Page and John Paul Jones and everybody might have heard in their headphones when they tracked the first section and then the last section, this. It's possible. Okay? Now, for a couple reasons I say. There's a couple points in there where I think at the end of it where they come up... where they come out of there, where I hit... The hi-hat's going in perfect time there. I mean, let's see if I can actually do it. I can actually, if I want to. So... Okay? I mean, it's not that hard to actually physically sit and do it, even though I might have been only about 83% kind of on it there. But I can't help but think, I'll just stick with the argument before I get sidetracked, that I think it is maybe a little more unlikely, but possible, that the whole song was striped to a loop of Bonham doing this. Okay? Maybe not. Maybe they played the front half and the back half freehand, but I'm certain that that whole middle was recorded separately, with either Bonham playing this literally for 5 or 10 minutes manually, for like... Is that 5 minutes? Or that they might have just taken a foot or two of this and just looped it to make a then master stretch of 5 or 10 minutes of this and that. Okay? So I wanted to make that video. That's important to me. I got to tell you, man, I'm going to go to Jimmy Page's house. It'd just be like 2 in the morning and be like, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding. You know what I mean? I want this info. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, there should be, if there was a Led Zeppelin like diary of what they recorded and when and how they did it, it would sell like hotcakes. Not just to John Bonham-ophiles such as us, and there's a shitload of us, but also Led Zeppelin-ophiles, which there's a huge shitload, and also people who might not even like Zeppelin, but really appreciate and understand Jimmy Page's production ability and how he got those sounds. There's a whole shitload of those people. So Jimmy Page, if you see this video, consider it, man. It could be like totally it could be like a huge, like 7 volumes of written down diaries and things, and little video clips, and then like 2 or 3 hours of, you know, like classic albums where people sit behind like the Neve console, and then they bring this down, and here are the drums, and here are the drums with echo, and wait, here's the theremin, and here's the unused part. There was actually 2 extra minutes, but we cut that out. It would sell, man. It would generate cash. So, that's the video. More videos on the way. Thank you for subscribing if you haven't. I'm going into record soon. I know I've said that 1,000 times, but I'm going into record soon. And I'm still trying to remember my supposition, my allegation, the argument I'm putting forth. What is the term? Anyway, again, thanks for watching. More videos on the way.